Thank you, Corey. Good afternoon. We'll start the Hawarden, Iowa City Council to order on Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. All present are staff and council members. And a lot of agenda items in reference to Avenue L project tonight and other items of importance. We will start with the standard agenda item number 1A, approval of the February 9th, 2022 regular City Council meeting minutes. You have those in your packet. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Moved by John. Is there a second?
Second it.
Seconded by Patty. All in favor then of the February 9th regular City Council meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes 5-0. We move on to approval of claims for payment for today. I'll start to my right with Monty. Any questions?
What is the $10,000 check for IAMU for?
It's membership for,
$10,000?
it's all 5, water, telecom, gas, electric. They'll pay a portion of that monies.
Thank you.
Travis, any questions?
None, thank you.
John, questions?
None, thank you.
Patty?
No.
Rob, any questions?
No question.
Is there a motion for approval of claims for payment?
So moved.
Moved by John. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Rob. All in favor then of claims for payment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Claims for payment passes 4-1. Open business from the community. Hearing none, we'll move to the mayor's report. Our congratulations to the individual wrestlers and the entire team at West Sioux for their great showing at the state tournament last week. Last month, I represented as the mayor the city of Hawarden at the Sioux County Assessors Annual Meeting and also at the EMS Annual Meeting. The EMS meeting goes through the yearly budget and also all of the activities from the previous year. Here in Hawarden, our fire department and the EMS squad work closely with Nate and the Sioux County EMS. Thanks to those that supported the indoor golf evening and trivia night held last Saturday to raise funds for the Hawarden Golf Course. I appreciate everyone that volunteered their time. Appreciate the West Sioux Industrial Arts class for making the putt-putt golf course itself. And lastly, our condolences, Corey, to you and Jody and your sons with the death of your mother-in-law last week, Karen. Our sympathies to you. We'll move then to staff reports. We'll start with Jacob, please.
It's been kind of a busy couple weeks. We got the budget put together and submitted on the state form so that the public hearing will be in the paper tomorrow for everybody to see for that, and we'll be ready to go for March 9th as the resolution to pass our next FY budget. And then be looking forward to doing the budget amendment for this current year next.
Okay, thank you, Travis.
DGR has begun inputting the street ratings into our GIS mapping. So when they get that completed, we'll have a PDF and a paper map to distribute on their assessment of our street conditions. I'm looking into a grant for a public community electric vehicles charging station. Initial thoughts are a dual charging station located in the parking lot north of the library. The grant is through the Iowa DOT and is part of the Volkswagen settlement. I've received notice that WAPA, Western Area Power Association, it's where we get our power from the dams. They'll be hosting a webinar to discuss rate increases and drought adder components. This will be March 11th. The current WAPA rates have remained steady January 2018 through this year, and any new rates would go into effect January 2023. So I'll update after that webinar.
Okay, thank you. Wanda?
Just a couple items. We continue to meet monthly with Paul from Long Lines on High Tech, and every other week with Ron to gauge the completion of the project as far as moving the analog to the digital channels. So you'll be doing more scanning yet in the future of your TVs, but hopefully within the next 30 to 60 days, we'll have that piece of the project complete. Also want to throw out for the council members, potentially on your calendars, if we could put a planning session for high-tech, not necessarily on a council night, but so that we could actually devote some significant time to that, potentially looking at the off Wednesdays that we don't have council meeting, April 6th or April 20th. By that point, we'll know if we have part of the Sioux County grant that we applied for. That will make a difference. The $450,000 that Mike had done the grant for, we'll know by that point, hopefully, whether we've received that or a part of it. So I'll be reaching out later to see if there's one of those two dates work for you, or if we need to, we can go into May. The other thing that we are beginning to start, which is hard to believe as cold as it is outside, is looking to our summer rec program and the opening date for the pool. So we're lining up the manager for both the pool and for the summer rec program. So think warm thoughts as we go into that season. And that's all I have, Rick.
It'd be like Okoboji where they jump in, with the winter games or something.
We could try that.
Could try
Maybe
that.
that's a fundraiser we could look at.
Not going there. Hi, Carol. Anything from your point of view tonight?
We have a few things going on with the open businesses that we have, or with the businesses that the buildings are, I guess, are empty. Quite a few individuals, I guess I call that quite a few, have been inquiring about starting or moving their businesses to Hawarden. So that's been really busy. I did sit in on a seminar for a program called Main Street, Iowa. Would be an absolutely fantastic program if we could get that here in Hawarden. It would be a great way to kind of get in the front line for some grants that are available. I have been working on a few grants. We do have a resolution tonight for you guys to, I guess, vote on so that I can apply for that grant that I have all written up. Other than that, that's kind of been the excitement, other than just trying to keep the downtown businesses going, and that's about it.
And my understanding that the online auction now has ended.
Yes, the online auction is over, and everyone would be able to pick up their items tomorrow night, Thursday at 5:30 at the library.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Corey?
As you guys know, with Johnny's upcoming retirement, we've been looking for officers to replace that. We're going to close that. We have two pretty good candidates that we're going to offer the job to, hopefully, and hopefully by next meeting we'll know for sure whether or not they accept the positions or not. So other than that, I just want to thank everybody for their kind words and thoughts while we grieved the loss of my mother-in-law. And that's all I can say is thanks. It was nice to have everybody reach out.
Thank you. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, nothing, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Move on to council comments. Anything from council before we move to other agenda items? Hearing nothing, we'll move to agenda item number 3, Resolution 2022-09, setting a hearing on the proposed to dispose of city-owned property. Wanda, this is in regards to what, the sign and all of that, correct?
Correct. And I'll start it out and then I'll let Carol finish. So the last time that we met, we talked about the property, and in your package you can see that that property size has changed. When we looked at, when we looked at that property, let me pull that up a second. Sorry, I thought I had this up here already. There we go. So the property that we were looking at was this piece right here. After consulting with Jenny, she suggested that we get a survey on the property, and we did. And the property actually is only, property that we own is only about right here up to here. The rest of this is actually state right-of-way, so we can't really sell that because we really don't own it. So the actual legal description of this property has changed, but it's less than, it's 6.65 acres is what we're looking at that we're selling. So I will let Carol take it from there.
When we first initially were approached by Decoy Signs, Koima Ag, they had proposed to purchase just a smaller portion of that lot. So when I did get a hold of the county, then they sent me over the legal description. It was 2 pages of just tons of information. And so when we did have it surveyed, it did work out to have that clarification, which would have had to have been done for the city one way or the other, whether we sell it or not. But it's going to work out a lot better. Koima, or Decoy, has still agreed to give us the easement for the electrical, which runs at the lower part of that lot, which means someone couldn't build on it anyway, with our main power going through there. So it's going to work out to be kind of a win-win deal for us, because it doesn't really have a use if we can't put something like this on it.
Okay, thank you. That's quite a legal description. That's,
Oh, it's
glad you
terrible.
waded through that. That was-
Interesting.
Any other questions in regards to this resolution? Or any thoughts? Hearing none, is there a motion for Resolution 2022-09 to set the hearing on the proposal to dispose of the city-owned property?
So moved.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Rob. Call for a roll call vote, please, for Resolution 2022-09.
Olson,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Harvey. Clucky,
Aye.
Feldhacker.
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2022-09 passes. Carol, thanks for working with Phil and his company there. Agenda item number 4, this is a Resolution 2022-05 approving an application to the USDA Rural Business Enterprise Grant Program. Do you want to give us more of an overview before we go through that resolution?
That's the grant that I've been working on, which I'm going to attach to our revolving loan fund. It actually would be creating another revolving loan fund. The total amount is $99,000 with a $25,000 match from the Chamber's Economic Development Board. So with the total, it'd be $124,000 that we would be adding to our revolving loan fund, which has been tremendously successful and has been a great tool for businesses to use to get the lending that they need. It's kind of like a little SBA, if you will, to help out new businesses and existing businesses expand. So it's really free money.
Questions of Carol in regards to this? Is there a motion then for Resolution 2022-05?
So moved.
Been moved by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by John. A roll call vote, please, for Resolution 2022-05.
Feldhacker,
Aye.
Clucky,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Harvey, Olson.
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2022-05 passes. Thank you to the economic group at the Chamber, and thank you for your work with that. The revolving loan fund has been greatly successful here in the last number of years. The Hawarden Parks and Rec Committee would like to apply to the Sioux County Foundation and get a grant request. We would be the fiscal sponsorship if we have this approved. They're working on something specific?
Yes, the committee approached the city about the open space on 7th Street and Avenue K, where the old baseball field was. And they like that area because it's right on the walking trail. It's kind of on the edge of town. There isn't too many homeowners around there. Just seemed like a really good spot for it.
They've done a number of also
Oh yeah,
fundraisers
they've
throughout the
they've
past few years.
did the light up the walking trail, and they're really very progressive and trying to do good things for the city. So
Very good. Is there any questions from council? Is there a motion to approve the fiscal sponsorship for the Hawarden Parks and Rec Committee?
Make a motion.
Motion by Patty. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by John. All in favor of the approval of the fiscal sponsorship, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes 5-0. We thank them for their work in our community. Agenda item number 6, this is Resolution 2022-06, adopting the final proposed draft budget for publication, ordering a notice of public hearing for March the 9th on the proposed final budget estimate for the fiscal year 2022 and 2023. Is there a motion for that resolution?
So moved.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by John. A roll call vote, please, and for Resolution 2022-06.
Anderson,
Aye.
Glucky,
Aye.
Harvey,
Yep.
Olson,
Aye.
Feldhecker.
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2022-06 passes. Thank you to all the staff and Jacob for working through the budget, and also the council members for all of your time with that as we get to this spot with the budget. Agenda item number 7, this would be discussion on the Avenue L reconstruction project, procedures for special assessments and bid letting. Pass this to Wanda and Travis.
So as we worked through this process with our bond attorney and DGR and then the bond firm, it came to our attention that as we work through the special assessments, that one of the resolutions requires a supermajority or at least 4 council members have to vote for it in order for it to go any further. That resolution is scheduled to be on our agenda on March 23rd, but we have a preliminary one tonight that requires a simple majority. As we talked about it, it seems to make sense, since we had a 3-2 vote on moving forward with the Avenue L project, that we actually have a discussion about it tonight before we spend any more money on our outside individuals. Trying to get a feel for where the council is on the Avenue L project. Again, if we go to the bid process, we have this broken out into 4 sections. Not all of the sections have to be done. Avenue L itself is Section 1 and Section 2, and then around the hospital is 3 and 4. All of that will be bid out if that's what the council decides to do. But in the interest of saving money, if we're not going to move on this project, it made sense to revisit it tonight. So
Discussion among council members, please.
My stance really hasn't changed. I'm not really interested in going all the way around the hospital. The priority has been, since the discussion started 8-10 years ago, that we were forecasting out the concrete streets we wanted in town, that L was a priority. And then after that, we were moving on. So I would still be in that boat.
That's really where I'm at with it. You know, this has kind of been in a plan for a long time, long before I was on city council. They talked about 16th Street, they talked about Central, they talked about West 10th Street, Avenue L was the next one in line. It's great that we go through and analyze our streets and get a plan going forward, but I really feel that, you know, this is the right way to go. And also, going with concrete, it's going to last longer. I mean, you could cheapen it up, but it's not going to save you any money in the long run. And then, you know, the fact is, those streets have been taxed accordingly on 16th, 10th, West 10th Street. You change the game now, and that's going to look really bad, specifically because we have a lot of people in this room and the administrator that live on that street. So then you change the game, and it's going to look bad across town. So I consider everybody to think about that a little bit too. I think streets are a big priority. I think that the public needs these streets. I mean, we drive around and sometimes your car about falls apart, you know, on some of our streets, and it's time we keep it moving forward.
Others?
I disagree with, you know, I'm going to stay firm with a no vote, and it's mainly because of the cost of the street. It's I feel like we could go with a lesser cost to repair it. We're tying up two sources of revenue, both TIF and local option sales tax for many, many years. Those are used a lot for street repairs and other types of community projects. You know, if there was a lesser cost on the street, one of them got tied up for 20, 30 years, however the length of it would be, there's another one available for all these other residential streets that need it just as bad as Avenue L. It's common that when you do pave a street, you do assess homes. I don't know that anybody's really said they shouldn't, but, you know, that, yes, they will be assessed that. I just think there's other projects and so many other residential streets that I don't think we should tie up that revenue and spend that amount of money. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'm still in support of the project. With my engineering background, I knew a lot of people from the civil engineering departments that, you know, concrete was the way to go if you had the funds available. The return on investment was always there over asphalt. Not just on longevity, but upkeep from the city. Obviously, DGR is recommending the right preparation for asphalt, but I still look at the return on investment being in concrete, even though it ties up our funds right now.
Thoughts, Monty?
Well, I think I've expressed my thoughts.
Okay. So then if I do the addition, that sounds like if that were to come true, it would be a 3-2 vote, and that would not be a supermajority on March the 23rd if people hold their positions as they've stated tonight. That being said, with all the other agenda items that we have on the docket tonight, do we, yes, Travis?
Could I just make one more comment? Maybe this were tabled for next year. We could look at it. A lot of this money that's spent could still be used, you know, the engineering, the assessments. A lot of that work has already been done. You know, if that's something we want to visit next year or even the year later, maybe some of this money won't be totally lost. So just a consideration that maybe if we're looking in the future, then.
I'm all for doing a major repair to Avenue L at any time, but just not to pave it at this time for that cost. There's something less.
Like what?
I would have to talk to the engineer. I know of different types. And yes, it wouldn't last 30 years, but you would have to come around once you've attended to many of these residential streets and come back in a minimal amount of years and say, okay, can we pave it now? What's the wear and tear on it? But we got to do 20 blocks while we were at it.
20 blocks of what?
Residential block streets.
Yeah, but in asphalt, in
I'm not saying what
overlay?
type. I know different types. I've done it myself.
Okay, because we do overlay now.
Yes.
Very poorly.
Where?
What did you do south of the school? Was it blacktop? How much did it cost? 67,000?
Yeah, roughly 68,000. It was a 2-inch overlay where they graded. There didn't need a whole lot of base because we had the natural slope. I mean, recommended you'd go down 4 inches, do a 4-inch base, make sure you get the good slope, get the water off it. I guess 12th Street was kind of our experimental to see how overlay, because we've never done an actual asphalt overlay in town.
If you would have paved it, how much would that have cost?
It was over 100,000 to do a 4-inch overlay, but that was with no base work. So
Yeah, you'd want to reconstruct the base
So
on
you've
this one.
got-
you reconstruct the base, but you know, that's a lot wider too. We actually could have done 4 blocks, you know, because it was such a wide street. So there's
I think it makes
many
sense
options.
I think it makes sense on a side street where the traffic isn't high. In this case, with the nature of the traffic, I mean, one fully loaded semi is equivalent to up to 9,000 passenger cars. So, I mean,
Yeah, the 97,
get the semi-traffic on there, that definitely exponentiates the degrading asphalt, and then you
Yeah.
have to seal it, you have to protect it in the wintertime.
yeah, the 1997 street assessment that we were working off, it did list West 10th, Central, 16th, and Avenue L as a ones to do concrete with. And that's kind of what the council has been working towards, but, you know, things change but I just hate to lose some of this engineering and stuff we have already set up. If it can be, you know, done next year sometime.
I have no problem with that. You ask me now, you know, will I vote to do Avenue L? The answer is no.
Sure.
Now, will I next year? Depends upon a number of things, including high-tech.
What's your reason for not voting for it now, Doc?
Money.
Money? And that money's gonna be here next year?
I don't know. That's why I said, I won't promise.
So-
You ask me now, given the financial situation that I have right now,
So you brought up high-tech,
yes.
okay? How much did the guy tell you we lose each month in that? So what are you gonna do different?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Because
The
that's
com-
been going on
the community,
long before
the
we were
community
here.
said, keep high-tech.
I get that.
The community voted me in to do that. I'm going to
Also
sit
went
here
on
and try
paper
and do
saying
it.
that, you know, in your letters to the editor, that basically we were misleading everybody, and that wasn't true either, Doc.
Well, I'm not going back along those lines.
You know?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you did. $8,000 a month is what we're losing.
Let's,
So-
we'll keep, at this point, the discussion to Avenue L reconstruction.
I only brought it up because he brought up high-tech.
Thank you. So it seems like a supermajority would not be made in March the 23rd, which then we have a number of agenda items on this agenda that were in regards to the Avenue L project. I guess I'll turn to Jenny and ask for your legal opinion. Do we need to address all of these since they're on the agenda this evening?
I think they can just be addressed as moot at this point. I mean, you can't approve something that's not going to move forward.
Do we need, since Travis had talked about the engineering, agenda item number 8, the approval of the engineering, that was for if we continued with Avenue L, so obviously that's already in place, so.
Correct. We don't have to do anything with that piece or the engagement letter for D.A. Davidson.
Okay, so that means agenda item number 8, agenda item number 9, agenda item number 10, agenda item number 11, agenda item number 12 are moot points at this point of the agenda. Okay. That leads us to no consent agenda. That leads us to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So the council has decided that they don't want us to move forward with Avenue L. Can we have some direction on what you want us to do with streets? It doesn't have to be made tonight, but at this point, we drop everything. I don't think that's the direction that you want us to go. So we need some direction at this point. Because right now, there is no street improvements in play. And like I said, we don't have to talk about it tonight, but that's something that we need to think about because we need some direction from council as far as where we go, because we will contact the engineer and the bond attorney and let them know that the project will not move forward this year.
I think I'd like to see them come back with the prices on the other stuff, and maybe we can hash something out. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
anybody wants to let it go.
No.
So,
Okay? That gives us direction. Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Patty, is there a second?
Second.
John, all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hawarden City Council's adjourned.